I'm unmuting myself because I think we might make a start. Let's see. Okay, so just before we start, just want to let you all know we are recording because we might put this up on our website when we get that organised. So if you don't want yourself to be seen, then turn your camera off. And then just want to warn you all we're doing that. So this is a first, hey, a Zoom call for our PTA AGM. Thank you everyone for joining. It beats making you all schlep up to school on a rainy night. So thanks for doing that. If anybody is having trouble getting their kids to bed, I just said to my boys, Miss Archer and Miss Urquhart are going to be on a call in a minute, and they sprinted. I tell you what, I've never seen them move as fast up the stairs. So yeah, try that tactic if anyone else is having problems. So we're just going to kick off. So I'm going to do a bit of an intro. And then Anne-Marie, who's our current treasurer, is going to take us through some of the numbers of what we raised and how we raised that money. And then we're going to hand over to our heads. G, if you want to flip to the next slide for me. We're going to hand over to our heads to do an update on how what we've raised and how that money might have been spent and some of their ambitions, hopefully, for the coming year and how we can help support that. Then we move to the election of our committee, which is going to be interesting on Zoom, but we're going to need you guys to raise your hands. So I propose people for roles, and then you guys show your hands and say yes or no that you agree. And yeah, we'll see how that goes. That'll be challenging. And then we're going to talk quickly about plans for 2020 and 2021. Things we've got going on. It's obviously really challenging in COVID times, so we've got some plans and we're really keen to hear from you guys as to what else you think we could do to help raise money for the school. And then we've got to announce the winner of the class list hamper competition. So you guys are probably all on class list because you know about the event and you've been able to get to the Zoom meeting, so I presume everybody here is on class list. And yeah, we'll tell you who won. We picked a winner yesterday, so we'll tell you who won that and who's getting the Friday night in hamper. Lovely. Forgive my air traffic control style headset. It makes me feel very official. So, right, G, next slide then, please. There we go. So this is just who we are. So the current committee, for the next, 10 minutes at least, is Kate Howley. I'm co-chair with Kate Nesbitt. Kate Nesbitt is bottom screen there in the glasses. There's me at the back. Claire Walker is our current secretary, and Anne-Marie is our current treasurer. Unfortunately, Anne-Marie's reign comes to an end. You can only do that role for a certain period of time, so Anne-Marie steps down this year, and we've got a proposal for a new treasurer, but we'll get onto that later on. And so we just wanted to tell you some of the things we've done this year. You know, everything came to a standstill when COVID obviously happened and we all went into lockdown, and all our plans had to go onto ice, unfortunately, but we hope to do them at some point in the future. So we had to think of new events and things we want to do, but some of the things we were able to do before lockdown happened was Mother's Day event. So we'd never done that before, so that was Kate Nesbitt's baby, delivering an amazing Mother's Day gift for a contribution, and part of that went to the PTA, and that seemed to go down very well. One of the ideas from, I don't know who had the idea, actually it might have been a parent, was to do the lockdown photos, obviously because the children couldn't have their end of year picture taken. So a great team took that on. Some new people to the PTA came and helped us do that, and it was incredible, and we raised a lot of money. So Anne-Marie will tell us how much we raised on the back of the lockdown photos. We were able to have our Christmas bazaar, the highlight of the year, to do the Christmas bazaar last December and end of November, and that raised a lot of money, but we had some new events happening at that, so we always try and do something new. And then we've got some new things coming up this year, so the Halloween trail that is happening in next week, and some other ideas that we're going to come on to on the last slide. What else have we been doing? So Kate Howley has been incredible. You really have, Kate, at moving us on in how we've been doing things. So she has been instrumental in our newsletters, which we've been putting in book bags, and now we're sending out digitally. She's been all over social media, so we look like we've got a pulse. You know, we're always on Facebook, we're always sending messages. Class list is kind of Kate's brainchild as well, to get us using that and being more up to date, and trying to remove our comms from the WhatsApp groups as well. So and we're conscious that we sometimes burden Miss Archer's and Miss Urquhart's staff in their offices with kind of reading things and sending things out for us. So now using class list, we're able to communicate ourselves and talk to parents that way. So it's a really, really good app. So if you know people that aren't on it, encourage them to sign up, because it really is, it's worthwhile. What else have we been doing? System updates, general stuff that kind of keeps the PTA running, which takes time and effort. So Claire has been really helping getting us set up on Gmail and G Suite so we can communicate easier as a committee. And then keeping us connected in lockdown. So we did those lovely, lovely videos, which were messages to our teachers to say thank you for keeping us going in lockdown and keeping us sending schoolwork and making us feel still part of the community, even though we couldn't see each other. So that was really lovely. And what else have we been doing? Involving new parents in things, just trying to bring new blood really into the PTA, and loads of new people have stepped up. It's been incredible. So thank you everybody for involving yourselves where you can, giving as much time as you can, even though that's only a small amount of time. It really is appreciated. So thank you to everybody for doing that. I think that's all I wanted to say really on that. Yeah, so we're going to go on to some of the numbers now, and Anne-Marie, I'm going to go on mute, and Anne-Marie's going to come off mute and talk us through what we raised and how that's been spent.
You're giving away with a surprise.
What was your surprise?
Well, the screen.
Oh, okay.
So for the final time, I am delighted to present the accounts for the PTA for the year ended 31st of August 2020. Of course, it's been a difficult year, but given how difficult it's been spending time in lockdown and with the social distancing rules, I'm amazed to be able to say that we've raised £20,024.84, which is really quite incredible when you think about it. It's mainly due to the fact that luckily a good proportion of our income is traditionally raised in the autumn term. So for the second year running, our Christmas Bazaar raised a record amount of money. On the day itself, we raised around £5,500, and with the raffle income of £1,100 and the Christmas brochure income of £1,600, we made a total of £8,464 for the whole Christmas event. Also, luckily, we decided last year to bring the school disco forward in the year, so we had the Halloween themed event. It proved really successful, and we raised £2,856 for that. Sadly, we were hoping to do that again this year, but obviously we can't. But you know, fingers crossed, next year we can all do it again and get our disco gear on. The remainder of the autumn term, we had a few more events. We had the firework tickets, which is £288. The Panto, which was a great event, was £1,124. And with the Christmas card merchandise and the Christmas trees, we raised another nearly £2,000. So in early 2020, we were just getting started introducing some new ideas. The first of which was the sale of the Mothering Sunday gifts, and that was a real hit and raised us £451. Then sadly, all the fundraising came to a halt. But some of the team, together with the nursery mums, which came up with this great idea of having the school photos, socially distanced class photos. Not only were the photos great, but we managed to raise £1,443 from that. So we had, during the year also, we had our usual traditional uniform sales, and also because we get commission from Stevenson's when parents buy their uniform through the shop, we've raised a very good, healthy £1,889 from sales of uniforms. So finally, prompted by the juniors making an appeal for their last final push for the junior library, we've collected donations online during the year and some at the start of this year too. So in most cases, the donations have been for a specific school or for a specific project. So in addition to the normal distributions that we give out tonight, there are also a few extra amounts going to each of the schools. So coronavirus has not kept us down. So already we've had our first event with the uniform sale. The uniform sale with a difference, rather than charging certain prices, we asked for donations, and it actually managed to be the most successful uniform sale we've had for a number of years. So we managed to raise £362 that day. So that, together with the few donations we've had already this year, we've already raised £1,000 this year. So things are looking good, and hopefully things will carry on that way. So now if we move on to the next slide. So I can tell you that tonight we can, well, I won't literally give it to you tonight, but tonight we've got 2 cheques for £10,000 each for each of the schools. Normally I'd be handing them over at this stage. And in addition to that, we've got a cheque for the Grove Junior School for donations towards the library fund, including gift aid, which I've been able to claim. We've got £637.50. For the Infant Discovery Centre, we've got £55. And then there was another donation. One very kind grandparent has donated an amount to the infant school, £100, but I've again been able to claim gift aid. So there's £125 that I can also give to the school. So I shall be bringing those in by the end of the week to hand over. So on that note, I would like to hand over to Anna, please, if I can.
Right, I hope you can hear me, everybody. I mean, first of all, just to say it is absolutely amazing, you know, to be presented with that much money at a time like this is phenomenal, and I cannot thank the team enough for all of the things that they've done. I know we started the year in a very different way last year, but what I'm confident is that people, you know, we've got some really creative and imaginative people who are going to help us get through what potentially could be a much more difficult time. And well, thank you very, very much for the money that you've raised. And certainly, I know we were really thinking about the photos when the photo thing happened in the summer. And that was brilliant. That absolutely kind of really hit a spot for us. And the videos from the children were brilliant. You know, we were in school and feeling a bit isolated, I think, a bit strange, and to get those messages really just did a lot to cheer us up and make us feel that we were connected with everybody still. So thank you very, very much for those. I know I always say it, and you know, I hesitate to get stale, but the PTA isn't just about money raising, it's about community and doing the things which we don't do as a school, we don't do as the teachers, but they're the things that kind of really bind everybody together. And the range of activities and the amount of involvement that people can have enables our school to feel like a really fantastic community school in a way that we just wouldn't if you weren't there. And we really do appreciate that, because we don't have the time and energy to do this kind of thing, but we need it to make us feel like, I hope that you feel it too, but the school that we want to be. So we really, really do appreciate it. So just before I finish, last year we were sitting on a pot of money because we were aiming to convert our library and the toilets which are next to it and another little room into a much bigger library. And we've actually put that on hold in the infants because we're much less far down the line than the juniors are in their library project. And I'm sure Miss Urquhart will echo this, but I think we're all feeling that finances are potentially a little bit more precarious at the moment in schools. We're not quite sure exactly what we're going to need for what, how much we're going to spend more than we usually do on some extra elements of provision, and what we might save money on. So I'm just going to stop what I'm doing there for a moment and see how this year pans out in terms of overall spending before I push that forward, because I wouldn't really like to be kind of stuck in a project which in the end turned out to be something that I couldn't finance. So we have spent some money this year, even though we were sitting on a pot. We spent about £4,000 during lockdown on reading books for our reading scheme and for guided reading books that we use in school. Because they were getting a bit tatty, and hopefully if you are bringing reading books home, you have had one or two which are a little bit cleaner and shinier and newer. And also we're planning on spending a little bit more because of the way we're releasing reading books on a weekly basis. Sometimes boxes get a bit thin because there's books are not coming in and out as often, and we've really noticed that over the last few weeks. So we've already spent about £4,000. That includes books for our guided readings. That's the way we teach reading in schools. But we probably will spend another 2.5 on additional reading books. Last year we invested some money, about £10,000, in new interactive whiteboards for 6 classrooms. And we are going to do the remaining 4 classrooms, which is about another just over £7,000. So that £10,000 that's just arrived, I will then be able to furnish the 3 reception and the nursery classes with better technology. I know the nursery board is just dying as we speak, so they need it. So that's really good. So I feel like I've kind of almost spent that money already. So just a word quickly about what we might want to spend more money on, because I know it's often really useful for the PTA to know what we're looking at for as we go forward. So nursery have asked me to invest in small weather play surface under their climbing frame. If you've had a child through the nursery, you'll know it's on a bit of a muddy patch of grass. So I'm reluctant to be the head teacher who paved the world, because I have put quite a lot of artificial surface in over my 12 years, but I think they do really need a bit of all-weather surface there. So I've got a quote, but it's a little bit, I mean, the quote in all was for about £4,000, but that involves some other areas in the nursery as well, and we may not do the lot. We're going to invest in some more PE apparatus, because what we're finding with playing in our class bubbles is that quite a lot of our PE resources are going out with bubbles at playtime, and actually we need to soup up our central stock a little bit so that we've got enough and we can cope with things disappearing or not getting put back, etc. And the other thing I've written down is just that we're hoping, we're aware that with the way we're doing our shoes, etc., some of our carpets, which the children sit on all day, are getting a little bit tired a little bit more quickly, and that's about another nearly £3,000 to put those in all the classrooms. So I will communicate this in an email to the committee so that they've got it in writing with the pricings. But if you can raise more money, we can spend it, and we are extremely grateful for all of your hard work, and thank you very, very much.
Well, I think it's over to me now. Thank you, Anna. I would agree with everything that Anna said about all the support that the parents have given both schools over the past 6 months to a year that I've been at the school. I couldn't wish for a better PTA, so proactive, so supportive of the schools. A year ago, I got my first cheque from the PTA, and within a matter of days, I spent it on some new Chromebooks for the junior children. With having 30 in a class, as most schools are, we usually have Chromebooks 1 between 2. So if we can try to increase that as much as possible is really useful. So last year's money went on new Chromebooks for the children, and it's been extremely well spent. When I heard from the PTA, I think it was about a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks ago, that they were happy to pass over £10,000 to us, you don't have to tell me twice about spending money. And I've already spent, £8,000 already? So the £8,000 have been on 2 interactive whiteboards. They're due to arrive next week in half term. I know 2 of my Year 6 teachers have been quite open about how bad their whiteboards are. They're about to die a death with the projectors. The bulbs for a projector is just as much as a new 4K interactive whiteboard, which the rest of the schools have got. So I wouldn't sort of batter an eyelid with that money. It was brilliant to be able to purchase those new interactive whiteboards. So they come next Friday. And you've also seen the matting for some of you that are junior parents at the bottom of the field. I have to say that the amount of matting that we got definitely does not cover the area that I wanted to cover, but that was already £1,000 just for that little bit of matting that we've got. We are now increasing that. We're buying double the amount again. It will be useful for our activity trail. Once COVID is over and we don't need the matting at the bottom, we can use that for our activity trails further up the school, at the school field, just because we can't really use that in wet weather because it gets so muddy. So we can use that in other ways anyway, but it is very useful at the moment. The children seem to love doing cartwheels and other things on the matting at the moment. But it was something that as a school, we just couldn't afford to buy matting. So when I saw Kate on the playground, and Michelle, it was almost like, right, if you need that, why don't you use the money from the PTA? So you don't have to tell me twice, I will go straight away and spend that money. So we've got more matting coming, and I know that there's been that little bit for the infants as well, from the running track over to the pathway as well. So again, if we need to replace that later on, especially sort of January, February time, then we have the money to do that. So thank you very much. Going forward, I mean, as Anna said about the library, we are further down the line with our library than the infants. We were 3 weeks away from starting a big build when COVID struck. We had got a builder already lined up. They were due to start on the first day of the Easter holidays. However, it was going to be extremely tight for money. And I will be very honest with you that the actual build was going to cost us £101,000 to extend our current library by double the size. We were hoping to have a huge glass entrance facing the infant building at the other side of our music block, which would welcome infant parents as well as junior parents. We were going to have subdividing doors within there so we can cordon areas off for both from the school and from a sort of an infant point of view as well. But that was going to be £101,000. And it wouldn't mean that we would then have the books to fill it, the library shelves, any furniture. So we'd have this amazing shell, but nothing in it. When we looked more deeper, we then had to try and cut corners to try and save money. And I know that this has been an ongoing fund that the PTA have helped us with for many, many years. I inherited it when I joined the juniors last year. And it's got to a point now where the prices have gone up so much since lockdown and COVID, and I'm sure you all agree that prices for some reason in everything that we buy has gone up tenfold. We actually just still can't afford to have the library that we want. So myself, my school business manager and my site agent have actually going outside the box and thinking not to actually have a purpose-built structure attached to the building, but maybe we have a Swiss wooden lodge built into the school grounds that will be our library instead. We can save half the money by having this wooden lodge that will still have a big wow factor, and in fact probably more of a wow factor than just an extra building, where bifold doors with a veranda where the children can get a book and sit out on the veranda. That is only going to cost us £50,000. We can then use the rest of the money that we have got to then furnish the inside of the library, buy the books, buy the nice soft furnishing that we need. So we are now not going for an actual extension to the building, but we are going to have a purpose-built, bit like a porter cabin, but a bit posher than a porter cabin instead. We don't need water in there. We will have electricity, but we've got an electricity point over in the butterfly garden, if any of you are aware of that. So it actually will be a cheaper version, but will actually have more of a wow impact, which I know that as a PTA, you want to have a wow factor. You've raised all this money, but it will just be hidden behind the building and not the grand thing that we all want it to be. So we are getting quotes in as we speak, but it's between £50,000 and £60,000, and then we can use the rest of the 40 to 50,000 to really get the furniture sorted, the book sorted. So where we were hoping at this time in January this year, we were hoping that by now we could have a big grand opening. We're still back to square one trying to find out what we can do, but we're not forgetting the library. We're just going to have to think outside the box. So that money is still there. It is still for a library. You've worked really hard as parents to raise all this money for us. We just have decided that we are going to think of something that will fit in more with our budget that we've got, that we don't cut corners and have a wow factor where our children would love to go into and enjoy the library even more. So I will say again, by this time next year, hopefully we'll have an even better library. But I know that it's sort of one of those ongoing trends where, okay, library again, okay, library again. But we really want to do this. We just can't do what we always wanted to do. And I think it would be a disappointment where this way, by thinking outside the box and doing something slightly different, it will have a grander affair. And I think the children will enjoy going there. So our plans will be to carry on with this, but again, it will be to find the best method we possibly can. So I know Anna said about all the different ways in which she wants to spend any more money that you raise this year. For us, we've got to get this library sorted. I know I've only been in the job for a year and a bit, but already I want to get this done and want to have a really good resource for the children to use. So that's our plans. So I know that you are a very proactive PTA, so fingers crossed when everything sort of goes back to normal, we can get back on track with all our fundraising. So thank you very much. I really appreciate everything you've done. As Anna said, those videos of the children in lockdown was perfect. I think it was a real pick-me-up for staff. I can see some of the staff online now, so it's great to see you. But have those hello and thank you messages were just what we needed at that particular time. So thank you for putting all those hard work, and all the parents by sending in their pictures of the children as well. It was lovely to see infant children that I will see in a couple of years' time, but it was nice to know that everybody's out there looking after each other. So thank you very much, everybody. Okay.
Super, thank you ladies. It's lovely to hear from you both, and it's lovely to see how the money that we raise benefits the school from the get-go, from nursery all the way up to year 6. So I think that's really important for parents as well, that they see that you know, the money's used across the school, which is wonderful. So thank you for the update. Good luck with the library, Lorna. We believe absolutely it's going to happen, and it's exciting to see it when it does. And Anna, yeah, that'd be great if we can do stuff in nursery. I know a lot of people on this call have got children in nursery, and all the other benefits that are coming from that money is really, really good to hear. So thank you, and thank you for being really supportive heads. You know, we're very conscious that we don't want to bother you. You've got enough going on, and yeah, to share with the rest of the audience here that when we send Anna and Lorna an email, they're back to us so pronto. So it's really appreciated. Thank you very much. Right, so now we move on to talking about the committee for the coming year. So it is a really exciting thing to be involved in with the PTA, and we're so appreciative of people if they can give 10 minutes, an hour or more. You know, many hands really make light work, and it has been so wonderful in the last year to see a lot of new fresh faces coming through, and a lot of people joining just from nursery all the way up. We always say if we get them in at the start, then that we can keep them helping us all the way through the school. So it's been really lovely that we've had people come from nursery. It's time for Kate Nesbitt and I, so we currently share the chairship role. We are going to step back from that. We propose that we move Kate Howley into that role. So we'll probably just go through these roles one by one, and also to talk about, actually, before I do that, we are changing the structure slightly in that we've had so many more people want to help us that we've created a new role called an ambassador. So previously the committee was made up of a traditional committee, you know, a chair, vice chair, secretary, treasurer, and now we've created a new role which is called an ambassador. So there are these people that give of their time so generously at various points through the year, but can't commit to always giving it. And we wanted to give that role a name, and it's called the ambassador. And if you're interested in helping the PTA at some point, but don't know how much you've got to offer, then that is the sort of role for you, really. So you might be able to just help with Christmas, or just with Halloween, or just on a summer event, but you're not committing to helping all the time, but you are committing to being involved and turning up at a meeting every now and again. So that's called the ambassador role. And it really is for everyone, and you don't need any skills. You just need to have a pair of willing hands and roll your sleeves up and kind of get on with helping with the jobs that might be dished out. So to go through the committee roles one by one, so we're going to have to do a show of hands. This is going to be interesting, and G's going to try and count when people raise their hands to propose. So Kate Nesbitt and I are stepping back as chairs, and we propose Kate Howley. We've nominated Kate Howley to do that role. Kate is current vice chair, and she's done an incredible job in the last year, so we really would love her to be the chair this year. So if I propose that Kate is chair, then I need you guys to second that and vote and raise your hands, and hopefully everyone. Let's see, Kate, let's see if everyone wants you to do it. Gee, I might need you to unmute because I can't see from my screen how many people have raised their hands.
Not everyone has their video on. Some have done it on the chat, but it looks to me as though it's a full house.
Oh,
so
Kate, you get the job. Well done, Kate.
All right.
Wonderful. Now, the vice, thank you, everyone. That's great. Well done, Kate. The vice chair role is currently done by Kate, so she stepped up. So that role is now vacant. If anybody wants to put their hand up for that role, do so now. G, let me know. And if there's nobody, then we'll move on to secretary role.
Can't see anyone, but
Okay,
if you have and I've missed you, then come off mute, but that's no problem. All right.
Okay. Now we move on to secretary. Now, literally hot off the press, about an hour before we joined the call, I had a text to say Helen Kearney would like to propose herself to be a secretary for the PTA, which is amazing. And Helen, I have a child in nursery, but my child is in the afternoon, so I don't think I've met you because I think you're a morning nursery mum. But we would love you to come and be the secretary for the PTA, and that's really exciting. Are you here, Helen?
Yes, yeah, I'm here.
Hello, wonderful.
Hi.
Wonderful. Right, so I propose you, Helen, to be secretary, and everybody needs to say, yes, please. Wonderful.
Yeah, full house.
Brilliant. Helen, welcome to the PTA.
Thank you.
Look forward to meeting you. Welcome to the team. Now, treasurer, and that role was done by Claire Walker. So Claire, we can sort out a handover between you and Helen. You won't be left high and dry, Helen. No high and dry in this team. Treasurer was done by Anne-Marie, and Anne-Marie has to move on. And Anne-Marie's done 2 years now, so she must unfortunately relinquish that role. And Claire Walker, we're nominating Claire to be that role. So Claire is our current secretary, which Helen now is. So we'd like Claire to do the treasurer role. So I propose Claire to do treasurer, and everybody, ta-da, wonderful. I think you got the job, Claire. So Claire has been brilliant. Claire is amazing at process and organising us and keeping us on the straight and narrow. So she'll be an incredible treasurer. And thank you to Anne-Marie for all your work. But we're not letting you go, just so you know. Ambassadors, right, on to ambassadors. So maybe you just want to put your name in the chat, actually. This might be the best way to do this. So Kate and Nesbitt and I are very much still involved in the PTA. We just won't be the chairs, but we will be still very much involved as ambassadors, and we'll take on, so I've taken on the Halloween event. Kate is looking after the Christmas event. So that's the sort of thing an ambassador will do, but they will have a team around them to help support them doing that. So if anybody would like to put their name forward for the ambassador, then maybe just write it in the comments and G can note that down, and then we can come back to you and have a chat about that. But it's a great role to give as much or as little time as you've got, really.
Shall I give a bit of a blurb?
Yeah, go on.
I'm an ambassador who's...
you are, yes.
Yeah,
ambassador.
Who's not been a particular, what I call the formal trustee roles of the chair through to the treasurer, etc. And some of the things I've taken on board are, well, you'll see a parent survey that's coming out. So put that together. You'll see some updates on the website. Great, we've got someone come up. Have helped the team with going out to research, what do other PTA websites look like, and then what we like on ours. Mrs. Burdett will be hearing from us soon with lots of details on that. And it's really putting your hand up as and when you can to take on some of these either admin or either event type roles, again, to support the key trustees of the PTA. As you know, the PTA, being a charity, has to have specific roles in place, but the ambassadors are there to help out. So I think from that, have we got 5? 5, brilliant.
Look at that.
So yeah, 6. Joe's in as well. Fantastic. Brilliant. So we wanted to have the 10 of us. So I think we're nearly there. So that's great. Thank you so much. And we'll be in touch. Kate, I think, has got a date in mind for the first meeting of our new committee roles, including ambassadors. So I'll hand over to Kate, but fantastic. Thanks very much.
Oh, it's incredible. Thank you, everybody. Woohoo, many hands literally make light work. So it's wonderful that we've got some new names and some older faces as well who already help us. So thank you, everybody. Okay, we can move on to the next bit because that's the committee bit done, or the committee nomination bit done. Right, next slide, please, G. We're nearly done, everybody. Super. So this is just very brief plans for this year, because obviously things have changed with COVID and how we're raising money has had to change, but we've got some ideas. We won't be stopped. We'll keep going and doing it in a COVID safe way, as we did with the secondhand uniform sale, and also we're doing with the Halloween trail. We're taking it out off the school grounds and people can do it in their own time. So just from the top, so I mentioned it before, Class List, which is an app. We are moving away from using the school WhatsApp groups because you find that those class WhatsApp groups move at the speed of light. And you might put a message up and then a new thread comes along about something that's happening at school, or the kids need to remember to bring something in and the moment is gone. And we're very conscious that we don't want to bombard those WhatsApp groups with PTA messages. So we've bought into the Class List app, and we can communicate through that. We can run events, we can sell tickets, we can send emails, we can do anything. And it's a much slicker way of communicating and keeping everything PTA related within one house, really. So if you know people who haven't got it, please get them on it, and it's a really, really useful tool. Events that we're trying to do this year, so anything virtual or socially distanced. We're doing obviously the dress up day on Friday. That will be a donation that will go in the pot. We're doing the Halloween trail, so people will be getting their packs today on email. We're hoping to do an Advent walk, something similar to the Halloween trail. We want to do a Santa Dash, so kind of a 2K or a 5K. The plans are being worked up on that. A Christmas quiz pack. There's all sorts of things coming along, which will be COVID safe and will hopefully raise money for the school. We want to involve you all in that though, so we'll be sending a Google survey out, which will capture your ideas and any feedback you've got for the PTA and how we do things. So G's developed a Google survey and we'll get that out, and we just look forward to really hearing what you've got to say. And yeah, just get involved, you know, and you already are, because lots of people have put their hand up for ambassador, so get involved. Even if an ambassador role feels like too much for you, then just, if your name's on a list, then we'll invite you on an email or we'll invite you to a meeting and you might be able to help us in some way. And what we, you know, it's the richness of parent and mums and dads experience and what they can bring to the party is just incredible. So it's great to know who does what and who might be able to help us on something, even if it's a tech related thing. You know, if we're setting up a sound system or even running a Zoom meeting like tonight, we needed somebody who kind of knew how to use Zoom well. So everything is welcome. So yeah, get involved and make new friends and be part of the community, as Anna was talking about. You know, really it is a community thing, and it helps us feel part of the school even more. So yeah, thank you very much. Okay.
Mish,
yeah.
Sorry, lovey, just really quickly, can you just say on that note, re Christmas and any new ambassadors, but anybody else on here,
yeah,
if anybody wants to join the Class List group for Christmas, that's going to be starting literally straight after half term. So time is of the essence, in other words. So
yeah,
jump on board, but join that group that's on the Class List that Kate was set up.
Super. Yeah, it's already on there. So yeah, you can go to that, you can find it in your thread and just become part of the group, and then you'll be kept up to date with the messages that are going out and the meetings that might be happening. Nice one, Kate, thank you. Okay, then the next slide. So we ran a competition to encourage people to sign up to Class List, and everybody joined before a certain date, and those people were put into a draw, and Kate and I did that draw yesterday, and the winner is Michelle Toward. And Michelle I know Michelle, she's got a child in year 2, and she's also got Olivia in nursery. She's an all-day nursery kid, so that's brilliant that Michelle gets our Friday night in hamper filled with goodies to have a night in. So we'll probably leave that at the infant office, and hopefully Michelle can pick it up later on this week. So well done, Michelle. Don't think she's on the call, but well done her. Okay, and then the final slide is just as G was alluding to. So we are going to have regular catch-ups. So we've got lots of new faces. That's wonderful, and lots of people wanting to be ambassadors, and obviously the new committee. We're going to do just regularly catch up on Zoom on a Wednesday, starting on the 4th of November. So every first Wednesday of the month is going to be a PTA call, and just dial in. Everyone's welcome, even if you're not an ambassador, everyone's welcome to discuss ideas about what's coming up. So we'll do that every first Wednesday of the month on Zoom, and the details for it will be shared on Class List. So I think that's it, unless Kate Nesbitt, if there's anything else, or Kate Howley, or anybody actually, if anyone's got anything to say. Just reading the comments. I think it's the headset, Anna. I just film a role with this headset. Very Madonna, isn't it? Or it's air traffic control. So yes, go on. Yeah.
I was just going to say, thank you for voting me in. And for those that don't know me, thanks. And I'm just, really looking forward to working with everyone kind of over the next year. And despite COVID, we will raise lots of money. So thanks for people to, put their names forward. And yeah, good job.
Bring it on. Yeah,
Bring
no,
it on.
thanks everybody. Really excited. We've got some new people, and thank you to the people who are stepping down, to Anne-Marie, you've been an amazing treasurer, so thank you for that, and to Claire taking on that role, and to Helen, so excited to meet you, Helen. So yeah, thank you everybody. Thanks for joining this, and we look forward to seeing you soon.